This game that's impacted me the most, and I strongly encourage you to give it a peek if you haven't already. For today, however, I'd like to get into my overall thoughts on REANIMAL as a game. This will not include too many of my personal theories or interpretations, blah blah blah. This will solely be how I feel about REANIMAL as a game and how it presents itself aesthetically and whatnot. Now, right off the bat, I'd like to say REANIMAL feel like what both the original Little Nightmares games were building up to. This takes everything the original series was and amplifies it to the greatest of ways. We'll start off with the gameplay. Firstly, oh my god, is the combat so much more satisfying. In the previous game, it was so clunky and slow, and this time around you can actually swing fast and you can kill enemies with ease. I swear, Little Nightmares 2 used to make me rage quit so many times in that stupid hallway section in the school. You get to carry around your own weapon in this one, which thematically I think it fits really well with the war setting as well. There's also spears that you'll get to throw that you find sometimes. It felt overall smoother than the previous installments, and I think the camera helped with that flow more. Speaking of camera movement, I thought the boat sections felt pretty alright to control. The camera, it could be a bit janky at times, and turns could be awkward, but it's nothing you can't get used to. My favorite puzzle might have been the tank one, which I found annoying at first, but it was because my brother and I kept trying to solve it before even going to the lighthouse. There was also a shooting a key off some strung up bodies, which I thought was fun to do. There were a couple that I'm sure I was doing wrong the first time, like the sniper section when you have to push the cars. We were doing like a run slide movement and we were doing the whole thing wrong. I didn't learn that until our second playthrough. And speaking of, I think the co-op was implemented super well in this game. It never detracted from the horror, and I feel like they managed to keep that element in really well. Especially considering how tiny you are in the game. It only makes sense that the fear factor would remain. I think it brings a weird layer of comfort to me to be able to play with someone in this big, scary world. And the best part of it, it's got couch co-op. You're not just limited to playing online. Little Nightmares 3, you can be in the same room as whoever you're with. I like that they made everything so that the two of you could work together to accomplish things. Pushing the boat, pulling the levers. The world doesn't feel built for you. It feels heavy, like you needed to have the other kids there. The environments in here are so masterfully crafted too, to feel like they were pulled straight from concept art. They're so packed full of details to analyze and ponder about. Even the secret rooms, like the red light pig head or the single potato growing in the orphanage. Unlike Little Nightmares 3, REANIMAL actually cares about its world building and telling its story everywhere possible. I think every chapter keeps really solid areas. Places like the woods. There's one spot that has dead trees full of skin suits being hung up to dry like clothes. The entrance to the theater has this beautiful contrast of reddish pink glow emanating from it in contrast to the cold blue outside world. The sunken buildings full of drowned bodies, showing how harshly unlivable this world is. Leading up to the farm, there's this really beautiful yellow field, which was almost unsettling with how empty it was. I kept anticipating some monster to fly down, or like a tractor to come try to run you over. There was this whole underwater section too, which was completely unexpected to me. I think this was hidden from any of the trailers. It's so dimly lit, and the chase sequence here feels so tense because you're being slowed down by all the water resistance. And of course, though, my favorite environment was the war chapter. I've always gotten this odd sense of comfort from trenches as like a setting in games or movies, but that aside, it does look great, and it does a good job at feeling hostile everywhere you go. Running through the old homes and the sniper that's shooting at you, all that great stuff. Now for everyone's favorite part, the creature design. I thought these were all really perfectly done, and my only complaint is sometimes I really wish they had more screen time or just given more to do. The pig, the whale, the bird all felt like they were only given a minute of time, especially for how much the pig was used in trailers and promotional stuff. I expected it to have a much bigger role. Instead, you get the one line that can very easily miss due to it almost dying instantly in a fire. I wanted a lot more out of it, I guess. I know there were cut lines from the pig and the whale, that could have helped to add to them. I'll get back to into the dialogue thing later. Aside from how little screen time some of the monsters were given, they're all really creatively designed. The sniffer that tries to appear like a normal man, but like his grotesquely distorted face and posture gives him away. All of the disgusting stuff about him gives away the repulsive creep that he is. And not only are the big main bads well crafted, but even the smaller enemies intrigue me a lot. I want to understand the symbolism behind the skin suits and the bloated corpses in the body, and the bloated corpses in the water bodies. Personally, I've always found that to be one of the most disturbing types of corpses. I found it interesting that the fat ones are the ones that we see gouging on food or gorging on food. Kind of wonder if they have like a connection to the maw, or if that would be where they're sent in the future. I've already noted this down in my last REANIMAL video too, but the fact that the soldiers are the most normal looking humanoids is deeply profound in my eyes. I see it as very symbolic that they too are victims of the system, and that most of them are probably not much older than the kids. They're probably teenagers. The lamb is maybe the most terrifying creature, and I can imagine many ways people have interpreted it, being that it spawns from the girl's anger at her friends, the betrayal, how it becomes more humans as it eats more people. That's something I'd love to theorize on in its own video in the future. I think my personal favorite has to be maybe the seahorse, that giant skull on its anorexic body. It has to be like the most human build of any of the animal monsters. With what we know, I'm curious who it spawned from, and just how many people it had eaten to look like that and to grow to such an immense size. I wasn't a huge fan of the orphanage section, but the mother does intrigue me. I think she's supposed to be a spider type of creature. Now, she's got these really long arms of a person, and she stores children in her stomach. And I like the super long whale eel creature too. It seemed like a rare instance of something not hostile in the world, something that could have possibly been friendly. I'll eventually get around to talking about each of them in more detail individually. Overall, I think they're all pretty incredible, maybe even better than Little Nightmare's bests. As for the game's story, I liked how it was presented quite a bit. Upon a blind playthrough, it might feel quite a bit abstract, and the ending will certainly leave a lot of people confused. After a bit of research and playing through it again, however, I think it starts to click together a lot more. I only have a small complaint, like how there's roughly 30 minutes of cut dialogue, which really could have helped with understanding who these characters are and what's going on. I don't mind them going with minimal voice lines, I just think it could have added quite a bit to them. I mean, think about how interesting it could have been to hear what the animals were thinking, or to see what sort of remaining dynamics the kids still had after all that they did, the sacrificing in that. As for the story itself, it's one that's very much about children who are victims of the war going on. We learn at the end of it that the children, Hood, Bucket, Bandages, and Cone, sacrificed Bunny in hopes of either ending their war that was going on, or ending the drought that was happening, and that could symbolize why there was a flood in the purgatory that they're stuck in. I'm not sure if it ended up doing anything in reality, but all the children ended up being killed in some horrible way. The brother was hanged by the enemy, I believe. Bandage might have stepped on a mine. Bucket, I'm pretty sure, was killed via shotgun, and I think Cone was forced to walk off the edge of a railroad track, something like that. They all end up in the purgatory together afterwards, now reflecting on their tragic fates in the world being flooded and just totally unlivable now. Each place that they visit is a grim reminder of what their lives were and how twisted it all was from their perspectives. I'm left wondering if they could ever be freed from this fate, and maybe they atoned for their sin that they could be free from this evil version of their world. I would really highly recommend that if you are a Little Nightmares fan and you haven't touched this yet, that you do get it. If you haven't gotten Little Nightmares 3, don't get that. Spend your money on this, because Little Nightmares 3, I talked about it in sort of a rambly review. The point of that, all I really want to say is how artistically, like, bland it is. It's nothing. It's such a waste of gameplay. If you want to simulate what Little Nightmares 3 is like, genuinely open Minecraft right now and walk in a straight line for like an hour and you've beat Little Nightmares 3. That's what it felt like. I'm not even kidding. But REANIMAL, there's a lot to be appreciated here. I can only show so many clips throughout this review, and there's definitely like so much that I'm missing that I can't show because I don't have the runtime of this video. But you know, if you guys are interested, I will definitely give more of my thoughts on the other things in this game more in depth. just wanted to give like a quick review of the game itself here to kind of gauge what my audience thinks of the game. I don't want to put out a video and then no one cares to see what my thoughts are. Or you know what, maybe I'll make one regardless. Who knows? Who knows what the future has in store? My question for this video, what did you think of the game? And what is something that you would do to try to improve this? Because for me, the biggest thing is either cut the dialogue or add back in what was removed. And two, I think some of the animals needed a lot more time or something to do, because the big pig did not get nearly as much as I thought it was going to get. I thought it was going to be like Animal Farm type of thing, where from what I've heard, that story is like the pigs, they start off as animals and as they turn more into people, they get all like evil and stuff. There's going to be DLC coming out for the game, which I'm really excited for. I hope to learn the backstory of the horse and see what other types of creatures spawned in this purgatory and what their lore is. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe, hype, all of that stuff. And join the Discord if you're interested in, you know, talking about the game together with the rest of us. And love you guys. I'll see you. Bye.